right, here we go into another big day and another big hour of the Steve Gruber Show. Listen, it triggers some strong reactions, does this program. It'll give you optimism even when the times seem a little bit down. We're going to fight for this country from the foxhole of freedom, you know it. And here we go. 3 big things you need to know this hour. Number 1, a transparency road bump for Michigan Secretary of State from Michigan News Source. We'll have that. Number 2, Gretchen Whitmer, the governor, is going to meet with Donald Trump today. Apparently talk about trade and tariffs and everything else. And then she's going to give a speech in Washington. Why? Because she wants to be president. And number 3, well, let's talk about the futures. It's all about the futures right now. And pre-market stock trading not looking good. The numbers getting worse as we head toward the open in a little more than an hour. Right now, the Dow futures look like they are down almost 800 points. If they make it to 800 points, it'll take the Dow below 37,000. I mean, it's down 7,000 points. The S&P 500, now below 5,000. 93 points down. The NASDAQ, down 277. All of these are close to 2% down in the market. Again, not good news. Not good news at all. Means that the markets are, what are they going to be, off 20% here? Looks like. It's not just a correction, it's a bear market, friends. 7th bear market of my life, I think. I'd have to go and look, but I think it's the 7th of my life, something like that. They happen from time to time. And we always survive them and we always recover. But watching all this tariff information has people spooked. But having said that, China has retaliated, by the way, with more tariffs on the United States. And that's where it's going to really hit. Now, I just saw something from Scott Bessent, your Treasury Secretary. He said, you know, one thing we could do to China, we could delist their companies from the New York Stock Exchange. Whoa. Just delist them. You want to play that game? Just take your big companies off the New York Stock Exchange. That will be something to get your attention, isn't it? Yeah. See, there are tools left in the arsenal. So Japan's coming, North Korea's coming, Taiwan's coming. The EU already folded. They're coming to negotiate with Trump. So the intended consequences are happening for everyone except China, so far it seems. Everyone except China is on board with what's happening. Yeah. Yeah. So here's the other thing I said, just on, speaking of tariffs and so forth. Governor Gretchen Whitmer is going to meet with Donald Trump today. Meeting would come as the Great Lakes state. This, by the way, is an article from the Detroit News. Comes as the Great Lakes state navigates 2 crises. The ice storm that left thousands without power for more than a week now in northern Michigan. And Trump's escalating trade war that threatens the well-being of the state's auto industry. Does it? A face-to-face conversation will be an opportunity for Whitmer to find common ground with the president for their shared priorities around American manufacturing, innovation, and industrialization. Look, Gretchen Whitmer has pushed us to the bottom in education, in roads, in business opportunity, and in taxation and regulation. Michigan's at the bottom now. Michigan's a poor state now. We are a poor state. Congratulations to the Democrats for all the work they've done to make us a poor state. It'll be the second meeting in less than a month. She visited the White House March the 13th to discuss tariffs. She also sat next to Trump at the National Governors Association dinner February, days after he reappointed her to serve on the National Council of Governors. She's going to deliver remarks a block from the White House. Her speech, which she has titled Build America, Build, will touch on economic issues, political polarization, according to excerpts that were shared with the Detroit News. There you go. Here's a little something for you. I just saw this pop up, and I find it interesting, so I think you'll find it interesting. ABC News anchor George Stephanopoulos said his post-debate interview with former President Joe Biden was heartbreaking up close. In a new book from Chris Whipple titled Uncharted, How Trump Beat Biden, Harris, and the Odds in the Wildest Campaign in History, which was released Tuesday, recounted behind-the-scenes conflicts between members of the Democrat Party and the Biden administration over whether Biden needed to step out of the race after his disastrous debate with then-candidate Donald Trump June 27th, 2024. To staunch the bleeding of Democrats beginning to publicly call for replacing Biden on the ticket, Whipple wrote about how the White House accepted an interview with George Stephanopoulos on July 5th to reassure the public about the president's candidacy. George Stephanopoulos, not a journalist, an operative for the Democrat Party for years, after serving in the Clinton administration, he was never, and still is not, a journalist. He never was. Whipple described Biden as hoarse and semi-coherent throughout the interview and said Stephanopoulos was equally disappointed. Stephanopoulos questioned the president gently, like a grandson. Whipple wrote, afterward, when I asked the ABC anchor by email for his impressions, he replied, heartbreaking up close. Stephanopoulos has not commented. He had a similar response in a video shared by TMZ just days after the interview when he was asked by a man on the street whether Biden needed to step down. I don't think he can serve 4 more years, was the response. A spokesperson for ABC told Fox Digital at the time that Stephanopoulos was expressing his own point of view and not the position of ABC News. It doesn't matter. George Stephanopoulos is a hack, activist, politico. He is not a journalist. And Biden failed to score any points. He also seemed somewhat unsure when asked if he'd watched his own debate performance, saying, I don't think I did, no. He dropped out of the race officially 2 weeks later. You see, they lied to us. Over and over again, they lied to us. And these stories continue to come out. That's why I find it interesting. These stories continue to come out and confirm what you already knew. The mainstream media is dishonest and in the corner of Democrats. The mainstream media lie to you because they have an agenda that is contrary to what your agenda is for this country and contrary to Donald Trump. They will lie about Donald Trump. They will lie about Joe Biden. They will lie about Kamala Harris. They will lie about any damn thing they can to push the conversation to where they want it. It's not what we want. We want a free America, a prosperous America. And yeah, we're taking on the chin here this week in the stock market, and that's the price we're going to pay. But I'm going to tell you again, it's better than a debt crisis. It is better than a debt crisis like Italy faced and Portugal faced and Greece faced. It's better. When we come back, we're going to stop talking about these things. We're talking about spring and traveling and the beauty of Michigan. Ron Rademacher, straight ahead.